Greetings! Welcome to the Devlog for hot dogs, horseshoes, and hand grenades. We're going to start off as always with a quick sound check. Make sure your speakers aren't up too high. Wonderful. So what have we got for you this week? Well, I have been doing a whole bunch of back-end work on Taken Hold this past week, and Nathan, who is the one who is spearheading our work on new user content tools, has done a whole bunch of scary back-end changes to the game. That's why there isn't going to be an update this week, as we're just working with our private testing group just to make sure the update that we do doesn't just corrupt all of your saved guns with an arm swinger jump. But I've got a couple exciting things to show you that are in progress, some of which you'll be able to play with next week and try out, some of which is groundwork for our 1.0 content tools. So I've created two testing characters here, Testing Ty, to show off a bunch of the stuff that I've been doing. So, as I mentioned before, with 1.0, the mod Taken Hold Tweaker is going away. Too much of Taken Hold's code has changed. But I have told the modders that we're going to be making sure that all of its sort of like core functionality that people used for making cool custom characters and things make it into mainline. And one of the things that modded characters were capable of doing was using vault files for their weapons. So I have gotten two different versions of this functionality working for today that I want to show you. The first version is something that you don't even need a custom character to be able to utilize. You just need some saved guns. This is a new option down here called Use Vaulted Guns. It's similar to the item spawner in that it disables scoring, and the reason for that is that, well, I mean, you could just affix anything you wanted to your guns and get, equipment, ammo, things out of sequence that you shouldn't have for the difficulty. So I've got a first version of Testing Ty here, and Testing Ty has just been configured to spawn at the beginning with a 1911 like this. But because we've enabled Use Vaulted Guns, what it's going to do is it's going to go, okay, we're trying to spawn a 1911. I'm going to look in Anton's vault and see if there's a better 1911 that he's saved anywhere. So let's see what it finds.
Uplink successful. Target system detected. Take it.
Now, there's a funny bug with this. As soon as I unlatch the second one of these, it's actually going to spawn the gun up here instead of down in the case, because it's still using like an offset that the vault has to prevent objects from spawning in the ground. Boop! So there we have it. Instead of spawning an unmodified 1911, it's now spawning a 1911 that I've saved in the vault. And you can tell it's a vault gun because the hammer's already cocked, and we've already got a round in the chamber. So I can just pull that out like so, and there we have it. Now I could just, do my run from there. While I'm here, I actually want to show one other tiny tweak, long time requested. Under the scene panel now, when you're in a Taken Hold run, it says return to lobby instead of main menu here. Now this will actually take us back to the Taken Hold lobby instead of all the way out to the main menu. So the second version, well actually, let's see if we can get a random different 1911. I saved a couple of them. Oh, I tried to throw that into my mouth and it didn't work.
Take it.
Let's see what we got. Haha, there we go. Different one in this case. Old classic wood stock and a suppressor. So in theory, I could just save for myself into my vault 100 different versions of a 1911 configured different ways, and if I was playing with this mode and Taken Hold, anytime a 1911 would spawn into a case, it would give me that. I'm eventually going to try to also make it work that way from the object constructor. That function's a little bit different. The code's a little hairier than coming out of the case, so this was the easiest thing for me to get working to begin with. Cool. Let's jump back to lobby and take a look at the second thing I got working. The second piece of vault-related functionality I got working for Taken Hold was the ability, and this is for when you're eventually going to be able to author custom characters or play a custom character authored by someone else, instead of using the standard pattern that characters use, which is like they can have a primary weapon, they can have a secondary, they can have a melee weapon, they can have a couple pieces of miscellaneous equipment. There's an option now in authoring that I've put together that allows you to just basically put a whole anything you would save on the item spawner bed, basically. Like if we go over to save load here, there's a whole bunch. Here's my 1911s here. Including one with a bunch of horns. It's kind of sad that this one didn't spawn in the level. Love it. Whew, that is a second sound check for sure. But in theory, we could have a whole bunch of random objects appear for it. So in this case, let's go ahead and load the character and see what we got.
Uplink successful.
Wonderful.
Target system detected. Take it.
It's a pile of friends. So yeah, so I just took four body pillows, Sosig body pillows, threw it on the item spawner, deck, saved it, and then plugged it into this character. Obviously, you won't be able to do that type of plugging like in game, but if say you want to author some very specific character that they start with like this rifle and this pistol and these attachments and all of this specific gear you want to give someone for your character at the start, you'll be able to do that, array it on the item spawner, save it as a single group of objects, and it will appear in front of them. Wonderful. Cool. So let's jump out of VR and I'll talk about what else we are doing with this update. Yo, out of VR. So, as I said, the focus of what we're doing right now is all of the really scary changes to the back end of the game to allow for custom content loading. The way H3 has been coded by me badly is such that like the item spawner and such only looks for vault files in one location, which is the like my games folder for H3. But if we're going to actually support the ability for you to author these things and share them via Steam Workshop, we actually have to look on several places on the hard drive. Like those things can either be in the game, they can be in what's called the H3VR Studio folder, which is going to be the name of our custom content tool, and they can be in all of the folders that Steam downloads things that you subscribe to off of the workshop. And so Nathan has been going and essentially this week wasn't very exciting from a feature standpoint because the goal was basically just make the game look in a bunch of different places, re-implement the existing functionality, and make sure it isn't broken. So that's why I didn't push an update for this week for it, because just in case something gets completely fragged and just wipes a vault folder, we're going to be pushing this just to our private branch with a couple testers who are going to like manually back up their vaults first, just to make sure nothing explodes. But the goal is once that's up and running, we'll be able to start implementing these custom data types and having taken hold load, ingest them, and such. And I'm to basically put them through their paces, I'm going to be authoring a couple new taken hold characters for the game, but I'm going to be using our content tools to do it, just to make sure that they're as robust as they need to be. If they're not what I need to author a character, they're not what you need to author a character. So some stuff as well, just for like the modder folk, as I said, like a whole bunch of the like vault file functionality is there to help replicate some of the different like exotic character behaviors that those of you who played a whole bunch of modded characters over the years probably have enjoyed. The functionality that I added to the wrist menu as well for like going back to the take and hold lobby is actually something that anyone making a custom map can utilize and hook into. So if you're a modder and you've made a completely custom game mode for H3 and want the return to main menu button to, instead of leaving that scene directly and going back to the main menu, but to go back to the lobby of your own game mode, you can now easily do that and just override that behavior on the wrist menu. So yeah, beyond that, just a bunch of like SOSIG fixes and things. I'll have the more exciting stuff for you for the next week, because but don't worry, I've been listening to all your feedback on Blitz and Rampart. I've got some changes planned that are in progress for both of them, just make them a little deeper, a little more interesting, make them like interface with some of the take and hold settings more. I'm just not ready yet with those changes. So hopefully that should land next week and we can continue testing and refining these things. So yeah, and then the last thing, obviously, it's our favorite segment of the week. It's time for Hot Dog or Not dog, and I'm excited for this. I was kind of surprised that I hadn't done this one yet, given how much I love the ingredient in question this week. And what we're going to be trying out this week is kimchi on a hot dog. A whole lot of it. For those of you who don't know what kimchi is, it is a Korean ingredient, although it's oftentimes just eaten straight on its own as a little appetizer. It is fermented napa cabbage, red pepper powder, sometimes green onion, other sorts of spices. Some kimchi will end up having some seafood ingredients in it as well, which gives it that kind of aromatic complexity or funk. I live in LA, which means I have access to tons of Korean restaurants. And one of the best parts about that is like being able to get fresh kimchi, which is what this is. A lot of the kimchi you buy in the grocery store, like the fermentation is complete, is very sour, it's very tart, and it tastes kind of preserved. You know, it tastes like something came out of a jar at a grocery store, whereas fresh kimchi from a restaurant down the street is let's call it lively, but it's also just like sweeter and brighter. So here we go. Fresh kimchi on a hot dog or not dog. Here we go. Oh yeah, it's awesome. It's better. It's better than I expected. It's like, because as I said, fresh kimchi is like it's a broad spectrum experience. Sweet, salty, it's a little sour, it's herbaceous. And it's in the same way that great pickles or pickle relish on like a Chicago dog help cut through the like fattiness of the hot dog. This is doing the same thing. This is just great. I can't recommend this more. This hot dog honestly doesn't need anything else on it. That is a hot dog, all right. This is my favorite one in quite some time. So there we have it. We learned a little more about what's going on with H3. We've learned yet another thing that you should try on a hot dog. Keep playing Blitz, keep playing Rampart, put them through their paces. Let me know if you run into problems, and I'll have more cool stuff for you next week. Peace.